Yeah. Join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for attending. This is our annual reorganizational meeting. You heard me say before, it's a restart for the government, so we have to select our new chair and vice chair, and then we'll do some purchase orders and kind of go through reestablishment of government. So if there are no objections, I'll get started.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion and a second for the chairperson of the board for 2024.
I'll make a motion for Mr. Becker to be our chairperson for the board for during 2024.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Lowe?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion and a second for the vice chairperson of the board for 2024.
Mr. Campbell, I would like to nominate Mr. Logue for vice chair.
Second?
Roll call. Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Motion carries. Number 2 is establishing meeting date and times. I entertain a motion that the regular meeting of the board be held during the calendar year of 2024 on the second Tuesday of each month at 6 p.m. for the regular business meeting, and additionally on February 27th, April 23rd, June the 25th, August the 27th, and October the 22nd for work session meetings at 6 p.m., subject to the board meeting in special session as noticed by rule as required by the Ohio Revised Code, or by posting the notice on the website, signs, or other social media, and providing specific notices to news media requesting such notice not less than 24 hours before the start of a special meeting, and any others requesting electronic notice as soon as reasonably permissible.
So moved.
Second? Mr. Campbell, we talked briefly about February's meeting. Would you like to, should we go ahead and move that now or call it in February?
So there is a conflict, and thank you for bringing that up. There is a conflict with the February meeting. The suggestions have been made that we change the stated meeting from the second to the fourth Tuesday in February so that we could have full participation by the board. If you guys are in agreement, we'll do that. I'll entertain a motion in a second to do that.
Would that be the,
So basically,
That would be the February 27th would be our business meeting instead of a work session.
so the second Tuesday of February, we're scratching it,
the 13th?
the 13th.
Yeah.
And then we would make the 27th, instead of that being a working session, we'd make that a business meeting, if possible. Or also, I just won't be able to attend the second Tuesday. We can flip them, so you can still do your working session on the second Tuesday. That'd be all right.
Is there any benefit to move up for the meeting on February the 13th up? I'm just thinking because our new administrator gets in the building early in January, and just if there's anything that's on their radar to not push out so much regular and special meeting stuff on February 27th. It'd be nice to get a meeting under the belt with the new administrator early February.
So you're saying maybe the first Tuesday of the month? I can do
Maybe,
that.
maybe.
Just
If there's a need for that, but
The 12th through the 16th, I'm out of town.
you're out of town, okay.
So,
All right.
I think I just
Well-
keep it simple.
Let's keep this motion. Mr. Becker, what's your thoughts? We keep this motion as written right now, but we're gonna have a regular session meeting here in a week? So let's maybe bring that on January 9th and lay flat with the next meeting of that day. That fine? Make sense? That way we can hear from Corey Wright.
what's your suggestion, Mr. Campbell, how to handle this?
Either way, you
So-
can vote on it. We'll have a regular meeting next week. If you want to talk about it on Tuesday, we can do that. Give you a week to think about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna move that we keep this as written right now, and on January 9th, we will
Discuss
January 9th.
February's meeting,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll just discuss, yeah, because I
that's
think we'll have
fine.
more information then. I think right
Sure.
now we could change it, just to change things again.
Fair enough.
Okay.
So
All right.
let's just scratch everything I said and we'll keep it as is.
So the regular motion was for
Yep.
the, be in effect, and then I've got a regular motion and a second, so
Logue, motion.
Mr. Logue?
Yep, Dills second.
Dills? Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, number 3 is advance of tax resolution. I'll entertain a motion and a second that the board adopt resolution 2024-01, requesting advance of taxes collected for the year 2023.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 4 is meeting room policy. I'll entertain a motion and a second that all rules and regulations as to the meeting rooms remain in force as established in the Union Township Facilities Reservation Policy, which we revised on May the 12th, 2016, and any further addendums thereto, adopted by the Board of Trustees at the May 12th, 2016 regular meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 5 is compensation of Rural Zoning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. I'll entertain a motion and a second that the compensation for the Zoning Commission and Board of Appeals members be compensated at $75 per meeting per Resolution 2009-09, which was effective on July the 14th, 2009.
So moved.
Second?
Can we get discussion real quick?
Sure.
Gentlemen, we called out, I believe, the last reorg meeting and the year prior to that. We know 75 has been a set effect, flat in 2009 when things were rather extremely tight and it was looking like cutting 40 employees. I know that the Zoning Commission and Board of Appeals, they put quite a deal of work, time, and effort into that position. So I don't know if that's, I know from other locations, I know historically, I think that was like up around $250 in the past per meeting. I would be open to taking recommendations. Not sure if we need to set that figure tonight. Now would be the appropriate time to set that, but I'd say let's either revisit that, or if someone feels comfortable with an increase to that position now, I'm open for that, hearing that.
I'm 100% open to it. I think it should happen. 2009, yeah, it's been a while. Ms. Becker, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is there anything in the higher rise code that, actually, I thought that number was set by the higher rise code, apparently not.
No.
No. Mr. Campbell, do you recall what the rate was back in 2009?
Before we
I know it was
reset it, it was
200.
$200, it was $250 a meeting.
Yeah,
And then we went from 250 to 75?
Yep.
yeah. And
Well,
that's,
I don't know that anybody wants to be on these boards just because it pays well, or it doesn't pay well, so I don't think $75 motivates them.
I mean, I think it's almost an insult. More than if it was an all-volunteer board with zero compensation. It's almost an insult. It's probably more administrative work to have to process a check for it than it is that the value is on the return side, so.
So what do you want to do?
250 was the 2009 rate. I mean, I'd be open to see what's, when we've looked at this before, we looked at market research to compare other jurisdictions. I'm happy to do that, but I'm also able to say comfortably, reverting it to the 2009 rate or in that range is something I'm definitely open to off the bat. Yeah. We've got one of the zoning members in here tonight publicly attending, right? So you have feedback to share?
You've heard it before.
I don't know if I heard it.
We do put in
Yeah.
a lot of hours researching these before the zoning board meetings.
Oh, yeah.
When you get down to the hourly rate, we're probably making about $2 an hour.
You think 250 would be fair to go back to that rate?
Yeah, it's not about fair though. I mean, it's whatever's good for the township. Nobody on these boards does it for the money.
I know.
So it's really what you guys want to compensate us for.
75, 250 is a hell of a pay increase, on a percentage basis. I think our budget can accommodate it, can't it, Mr. Campbell?
Yeah. All right, I'm comfortable with
Let's
that.
move it 250.
250.
Let's vote on it.
All right, so moved, amend the motion to 250 per meeting.
Second.
Okay. Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 6 is law director compensation.
Good call.
Thanks for opening.
I'll entertain a motion in a second that the compensation for the Union Township Law Director be $265 per hour, which was effective on January 1st, 2023. And I did talk with Mr. Conover, and he said to leave it the same.
Great. Good. Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
We're about $50 less than West Clermont Schools for the same law firm, so that's good.
All right.
And about a third of their legal costs per year, I think, is what it is too. I don't know how a school spends hundreds upon thousands of dollars of legal fees, but
Lots of kids, lots of teachers, lots of parents.
That is right.
Lots of liability.
it is a lot of liability, so,
Multiple buildings, multiple buses, the list goes on.
yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right, absolutely right. So, anyway, it's good to be in lockstep there.
All right, roll call. Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 7 is payment of bills. I entertain a motion in a second that the board, to be consistent with the existing accounting procedures, require that bills submitted for payment be delivered to the fiscal office for processing and payment not later than 3 p.m. on Tuesday of each week for payment during the same week.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 8, cemetery fees. I'll entertain a motion in a second that all cemetery fees to be established in the revised Mount Moriah fee schedule that were in existence as of September the 12th, 2023, and to further allow all full-time township employees in good standing to receive the same pricing benefits as township residents.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 9, 2024 Planning and Zoning Department fees. I'll entertain a motion in a second that the board continue the schedule of fees and charges for the administration and enforcement of the zoning resolution and the associated permitting process as the fees and charges were established on December 31st, 2023.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Transfers. Entertain a motion in a second to authorize the fiscal officer to make all necessary intra-fund transfers during the fiscal year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 10, travel and meal expense reimbursements. Entertain a motion in a second to approve the attendance and reimbursement of all expenses related to seminars, conventions, conferences, and training exercises for the Board of Trustees and the fiscal officer, including but not limited to the Ohio Township Association annual and quarterly meetings, accreditation meetings, conferences, award ceremonies for the police, fire, service, zoning, fiscal, UTTV, or administrative divisions, and appointed zoning commission and Board of Zoning Appeals members, which seminars, conventions, conferences, and training exercises are related to the operation of the township, elected or appointed positions consistent with the Union Township Policy Manual.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll also entertain a motion in a second that the maximum meal allowance for employees shall be an average of $90 per day of qualifying event unless otherwise authorized by the township administrator.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 12, mileage reimbursement. I'll entertain a motion and a second that the vehicle reimbursement be maximum IRS allowance rate for the calendar year 2024, not to include township-owned vehicles driven by township employees.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 13, township inventory. Entertain a motion and a second to establish an inventory procedure to include only township-owned property with a fair market value greater than $1,000 and not to include titled or registered property.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Competitive bidding. Entertain a motion and a second that all bids be awarded to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder in accordance with Ohio Revised Code 9.312.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Contract approvals. We'll entertain a motion and a second to authorize the township administrator to execute contracts and represent the Board of Trustees as directed by the board.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 16, purchase order and contract approval for amounts of $10,000 or less. I'll entertain a motion and a second to authorize the township administrator to expend funds and to authorize the township administrator to execute contracts and represent the Board of Trustees for services including but not limited to meals and incidentals not to exceed $10,000 per incident unless otherwise authorized by a purchase order.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
Gentlemen, thoughts on the $10,000 limit? Keep it the same, bump it up? What do we think?
I'm okay with it the way it is.
Mr. Logue? Mr. Campbell, how long has it been at 10,000? When did you set that number? Ballpark?
2006.
Mr. Logue, what are your thoughts?
You know, everything's online, everything is available. So from a transparency aspect, that's really not a question. From a workload aspect of directors having to push their budget and make their people fit within what their approval threshold is, which is 10,000, is really where that, I think, pushes the authority. And I've not heard much pushback from the directors that they need an increased level or threshold there. So I think getting more feedback from the director level, if that's something that is bogging down workflow and costing the taxpayer resources there, that's one thing to consider when it comes down to process management. But when it comes down to frank sense, 25,000 was the legal requirement. This is going above and beyond that. That was established in 2008 at 10,000 threshold to publicly be read. That has since changed to 50,000 and has since in the last 2 years now changed to 75,000. So 75,000 is the actual legal requirement to be read publicly. And so there's a huge discrepancy there of $65,000 right now between where we're at. So, for the purpose of what's interesting to the residents to know that they can't get on our transparency center or open checkbook, that's not the question. If it bogs down directors to make their acquisitions and fit things under 10,000, like we have seen, you'll see, people exercise up to their authority level. If they've got no authority level and they're at 9,999, sometimes that gets a director to get a job done versus saying, hey vendor, I gotta go negotiate this with the Board of Trustees and get it there, and you're gonna get paid 2, 3, 4 weeks later. So sometimes it has that kind of artificial limitation at 10,000. So I'm open to hear discussion, but I hear Mr. Becker reference, he's comfortable with 10. I recognize inflation, I recognize that costs are growing, and 15 or 20 likely is a logical area, but that doesn't necessarily mean that 10,000 is illogical. So just kind of open to hear feedback. You guys have thoughts?
I'll keep mine brief. Just common sense. It's been 18 years since it's been last upgraded. The legal limit now is 75,000. Back then it was 25,000. We've got our directors in place, our service chief, both fire chiefs, and our administrator in place. I trust them on common sense, and everything's online. So I think $20,000 is fair.
Mr. Becker, is that between 10 and 20? What's your comments, thoughts?
Well, over the last 2 years, this sheet of paper's only had, 6, 8 items on it. It's not like we got, volumes of pages to go through. This is the longest one I think I've ever seen. It's got, I think, like 20 items. Of course, I'm a numbers guy, I'm anal to begin with. I like looking at these numbers, and it prompts me to ask, the fire chief or police chief, what's this or what's that, or the services director, what have you. I'm okay with keeping it at 10,000.
You're going to be chairman this year. You'll probably take a little more questions. So does something that moved the needle between both of you at 15,000, is that worthwhile, or is it kind of an all or nothing either way to both of you?
I'm indifferent. I mean, it's more of a convenience factor. We've got basically 3 directors plus our administrators. I'll say 4, and each one, I like to consider each one like a CEO of their department. The chief of fire is the CEO of the fire, the chief of police, CEO of the police. Gives them more discretion, and we wouldn't put them in these positions if we didn't trust them to begin with. So, 18 years, what did a car cost 18 years ago compared to today, or a house, for example? So, and you can't get anything done until it reaches the board of trustees. Has nothing to do with being transparent. Everything we do is online, so I'm not concerned about that. I just think it's more of a convenience factor with our trusting employees. So, in my opinion, I think it should be bumped up a little bit, either 15 or 20,000. I think would be fair. So.
No, you speak well on it.
We can vote against each other. It's not a big deal. Love you guys at the end of the day. So, let's go with 15,000. That's all.
No, hold on. You speak well on it. The efficiency factor is obviously great, and it's nothing to necessarily take completely light. So, but then also supporting the directors. I've had that thought for the longest time for the employees. If we pay them fairly and well and respect them well, and then there's nothing like saying I respect you, but then saying, hey, you got to come to me for every $1 you spend, type of thing. And so, yeah, an increase to 20 is actually putting action behind it. So we got Mr. Taylor up here, who's service department head. Hey, I'd like to ask you, Mr. Taylor, just as far as that goes, the actual workflow there of something that's approaching 9, 10, 15,000, like what would that change for you? Would it be able to get things that logically needed to get done faster than having to wait on a board of trustees meeting for a purchase order that's over 10,000, that's 12 or 13 or something? It's like, hey, no one's going to say no to this because it's salt or it's something basic that we need. Is there something like that you can share with us? Either way.
To be honest with you, I'm good either way. I mean, if it's a lot of times big ticket items, or generally the most part of what we do are obviously road paving, salt, but we have a lot of small items. But when it comes to certain items, yes, would it help? Well, sure, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make it work, whatever you guys decide.
Okay. Does the efficiency factor, though, slow things up? If you say, hey, right now you got something on your desk, you need to get it bought for $10,001, you got to wait, 3 weeks, 4 weeks maybe, if the timing hit wrong?
That is correct, yes, but.
And then what? We don't get anything in place for 4 weeks. It could be something the township needs so we can improve services, operate a little more effective and efficient. Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Joe,
I like it.
I'm going to make a motion to amend it to 15,000. I don't think it's a problem.
So moved.
Any further discussion? Oh, Mr. Campbell, you're running this meeting, not me today, sorry. You know
So,
me.
I'm just gonna say this, you're still gonna see the addendum every week that has every purchase order on it. So it's not like you're not gonna see it. Reason we did this is an artificial thing that I put in place back then, and it was just to make sure that people were paying attention to what they were doing. And more for the board's edification. But with new technology, with all the electronic stuff, you get the addendum every week.
Sure.
So, and we pay bills here every Friday, and the addendums go out every Thursday. I text you guys every Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually around 10 o'clock. Okay, so roll call. Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
No.
Motion carries. Okay, item 17, appointments to the Zoning Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. I'll entertain a motion and a second to appoint Bill Shannon to the Township Zoning Commission for the term expiring December 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion and a second to reassign Michael Outridge from an alternate to a full-time member of the Union Township Zoning Commission for the term expiring December 31st, 2027.
Yes. Sorry, so moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Oh, real quick, Rob, why are you not on this list?
He's
Oh.
not up.
Okay, good, all right. I was about to like, you moving? Okay, never mind.
So entertain a motion and a second to reassign Bradley Toft from a full-time member of the Union Township Zoning Commission to an alternate for calendar year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Entertain a motion and a second to appoint Doug Smith as an alternate to the Union Township Zoning Commission for calendar year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. We entertain a motion and a second to appoint Robert McAdams to the Union Township Board of Zoning Appeals for the term expiring on December 31st, 2028.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Entertain a motion and a second to appoint Gerald Beckman as an alternate to the Union Township Board of Zoning Appeals for calendar year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. And lastly, I'll entertain a motion and a second to appoint Jamie Briscoe, Brescol, as an alternate to the Union Township Zoning Board of Appeals for calendar year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 18, appointments to the Parks and Recreation Committee. I'll entertain a motion and a second to appoint Katie Campbell to a 2-year term on the Union Township Parks and Recreation Committee expiring on December 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr.
Is
Lowe?
there quick discussion? Mr. Campbell, is that relation to you?
That's my daughter-in-law.
Your daughter-in-law? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
She likes to do it.
Good. She's already been,
She's already on, yeah.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Such a new board. Love that we got that stood up and started, so that's wonderful.
I believe these are all reappointments for 2 years.
They are, everyone.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good to hear. All right, thank you.
Okay, sure. So roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion in a second to appoint Molly Lloyd to a 2-year term on the Union Township Parks and Recreation Committee expiring on December 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries.
You know, Molly did a lot of good artwork for that board this year at the T-shirt designs.
Did.
Entertain a motion and a second to appoint Judy Wing to a 2-year term on the Union Township Parks and Recreation Committee expiring on December 31st, 2025.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. And lastly, to entertain a motion and a second to extend Rich Glisson's term on the Union Township Parks and Recreations Committee to expire on March 1st, 2025.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 19, appointment of part-time and/or co-op student personnel. I would entertain a motion and a second to authorize the township administrator to hire various part-time and co-op students on a continuing as-needed basis at the same rate as applied on December 31st, 2023, in order to fill internship positions with the Union Township for various departments.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 20, Union Township Summer Help Compensation. Entertain a motion and a second to establish that for the calendar year 2024, keep the same rate as applied on December 31st, 2023 for all summer help employees.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 21, approval of purchase orders submitted for the January the 2nd, 2024. Mr. Taylor, do you want to read the purchase orders, please?
Yes, sir. First is for Altafiber for the township's phone service for $38,352. Second is the Altafiber for the fiber optics for the township for $76,029. Next is Dark Points Operating Company for the cloud backup services for the township for 12 months at $35,160. Next is Duke Energy for the lighting district for 12 months at $60,000. Next is TS&H Operating Ventures for professional services at $24,000. Next is the Verizon Wireless for the township's cell phone service for 12 months at $74,400. Next is Vigilant LLC for the cyber security and monitoring for 12 months at $52,000. Next is One Cloud Services LLC for the monthly internet and spam filtering at $13,836. Next is Bricker Graydon LLP for the miscellaneous legal fees at $100,000. Next is for the Clermont County TID, the annual contribution for the Clermont County TID work program at $100,000. Next is Duke Energy for the Civic Center, gas and electric for the 12 months at $150,000. Next is Highland Group for the 2024-2025 liability property casualty insurance at $250,000. Next is the retail postage meter at $48,000. Next is to the United States Postal Service for retail postage at $50,000. Next is to the University of Louisville for the SPI course for Sergeant Bullock and Sergeant Grammel at $13,732. Next is Wex Bank for the estimated fuel usage of $26,000. Next is Axon Enterprise for the body cameras and licensing fee in year 4 at $60,420. Next is for Royce Lawn Care for the annual fertilization of all township properties at $40,000. Next is Bachman's Inc. For the Civic Center HVAC maintenance program for 1 year. Next is Bachman's at the EPOP building for the HVAC maintenance agreement for 1 year also at $19,080.
Okay, at this time, I'd entertain a motion and a second to approve the purchase orders as presented by Mr. Matt Taylor, our interim township administrator.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Campbell?
Yes, sir.
Just a comment here. So on our previous discussion for, $15,000, $20,000, this list was based on $10,000. I counted 20 items. That's at the $10,000 level. Since the board agreed on $15,000 or voted to approve $15,000, had that been in effect when this list was created, that would have only knocked off 2 items. And had the board agreed on $20,000, it would have knocked off a 3rd item. So to really put a dent in reducing the size of this list, we'd have to actually go to like 50,000. Just an observation.
Yes. I agree with you on that, Mr. Becker. Do you have any questions on any of the requisitions?
I don't.
I don't, more of a comment on that. You're right and you're wrong, because I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 items that are annual agreements, that are 12-month agreements that we will not see again for another year.
All right, yeah.
So that would be null on that. And just also, and a lot of this is allocation, correct? So, Mr. Taylor, Mr. Campbell, for example, the postage, legal fees, that is all money being allocated but not being spent yet. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so it might not even be spent, but it's being allocated.
That's correct.
But, good, that's all I got.
So a lot of these we're treating kind of like a super blanket.
Correct.
We put it in for the whole year, and then we'll draw down on that up to the allocated amount.
Correct.
Right.
Yep, good to go.
It's almost like writing, so like for Royce Lawn Care, there's $40,000 that there's a budget to work with under. So it kind of actually undercuts and mitigates the strategy of saying, hey, work within 10,000, because if you just get it in the annual reorg meeting at a set threshold for the year, then the directors have flexibility to kind of operate and not be bringing it forward for a $10,000. So there's a little bit of an interesting dynamic that can be done right there to create flexibility. So I can see why that wouldn't necessarily be such an impact to like Mr. Taylor when you're referencing that, because I'm just saying, I'm thinking that maybe lawn care runs through, but maybe it doesn't. Does Royce Lawn Care run through you? Yeah, service,
Yes.
It's a service fund. So, yeah. Anyway, I was gonna ask the question on those 2 service ones, Royce and Bachman's. How frequent do we get a competitive market
Great question.
just package? Because Bachman's is every year. That's great. They know our systems very well. But, if we don't know market research and we don't know most competitive rates, we just don't know what we don't know. Same thing can be said for Royce. And I know Royce is a township-owned business, I believe, or they live in the township, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But,
They both are township companies.
okay.
So, periodically, we will ask for some quotes just for a reference point. We don't do it all the time,
Yeah.
but periodically we do.
We probably should get on a schedule at least to get a competitive maintenance agreement and lawn care services, those type of items, especially these annual agreements on the 12-month cycle, at the very least, not longer than an 18-month cycle. And the vendors should not be shaken by that or upset by that. That's just, we can't take you wouldn't do that with your own money in your own house. You wouldn't do that with taxpayers' funds. Just blindly, I don't ever seek a competitive annual, service agreement. That's a big deal. And we want, we want the best for the taxpayers' funds. So, but I'm just saying it out to the board. That's nothing to take action on, I think, right now, but maybe Mr. Becker, any thoughts on that going into some future meetings as far as, we want to put something in place as far as that goes? Just calling for annual agreements, 12-month type of competitive, package,
Yeah, I remember,
market research
gosh, it might have
requirement.
been 2 years ago, I remember asking Corey about this, and I think it was pretty much the same answer Mr. Taylor gave, that, periodically it does get, sent out for bids to I guess, kind of get an honesty check, if you will,
Yeah.
to see what else is out there. Yeah, I don't know that we need to change anything that, you know, the way they're currently doing it.
Okay.
And then the other part that you should note is when we do these upfront, we get a discounted rate. So like with Royce, because we do it one time a year with them, we get a discounted rate.
Right.
So same way with Bachman's.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's move.
All right, thanks.
Anything else?
Good to
Okay.
go.
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. 22, trustee compensation. I'll entertain a motion in a second to establish that the annual compensation of the township trustees shall be fixed $25,161.76 for Mr. Dills, Mr. Becker, and Mr. Logue, as provided in section 505.24, inclusive of the Ohio Revised Code, and said compensation shall be paid in equal amounts.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 23, fiscal officer compensation. Entertain a motion and a second to establish that the annual compensation of the township fiscal officer shall be fixed at $34,472.88 as provided in section 507.09, inclusive of the Ohio Revised Code, effective commencing on January 1st, 2024, and said compensation shall be paid in equal payments.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 24, meeting decorum. Entertain a motion and a second to permit the township meeting decorum to follow Robert's Rules of Order, subject to the meeting rules for Township Board of Trustees as adopted on December the 13th, 2022, and any further addendums thereto.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call. Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 25, appointment to the Clermont County Tax Incentive Review Committee. I would entertain a motion and a second to nominate one of the Board of Trustees as the Township Trustee Representative and Mr. Corey Wright as the Township Administration Representative to the Clermont County Tax Incentive Review Committee.
Do we know the schedule of these tax incentive review committee meetings? Do we have the schedule on that?
I don't have the schedule, but I can get it for you.
Okay. And then obviously in lieu of trustee being there, that's also why we've got Mr. Wright as the administration representative of that as well. So, anyway, gentlemen, it's something I'm interested in. I don't know if someone's put their name out for that, but something I'm interested to.
It's always been my goal for 2024 to be on the Tax Incentive Review Committee.
I figured it
So,
would be.
Mr. Lowe,
I
we're
figured
going
it
to
would
fight
be.
over that.
I figured
so.
it would be. I just don't know I don't know what their meeting schedule may be technically, so is this something you're aware of, Mr. Becker?
No, but I think I'm going to be the tiebreaker and give it to you, Mr. Logue.
Well, okay, well, I'll let you guys know if there's if there's something that's a schedule impact, I'll let you know as far as that goes, but I think in that avenue, that's something where, again, having our administration representation, they're always there as well, so.
I will move
Appreciate
to
it.
nominate
Okay.
Mr. Lowe
All right.
as our Township Trustee
So
Representative.
moved. We'll let Mr. Dills take that one.
I think Mr.
I'll
Dills
second
moved.
it. I'll second
I
it.
should probably second that.
Okay,
No,
you moved it, he seconded it.
for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So Mr. Dills moved to nominate Mr. Logue.
Okay, Mr. Campbell, roll call.
You're good.
Can I get a second?
Yes, yeah, Mr. Becker.
I think I seconded that,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, roll call. Mr. Dills?
Yes.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Logue?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And then, Mr. Campbell, is this adjourning the entire meeting or just adjourning the reorganization meeting? Before we go to comments from the board?
Yes. Adjourns his reorg meeting.
This is whatever you want
It's
to
the
do.
same meeting.
Same meeting.
I
we have one
just
meeting
wanted to make sure we get an opportunity for comments before we adjourn, that's all.
Okay.
You want to do that?
All right, we can do that right now.
Okay, perfect.
Good.
All right, gentlemen, comments to the board. First off, we have a lot of renewals on the zoning committee, and appreciate them very much. And I didn't even think about that, Mr. Logue, the compensation. I didn't even, great call on that. and so they deserve that, probably more. So hopefully they'll be happy with that. So appreciate
Yeah, I
them.
bet. Merry
Also,
Christmas.
yeah, also Park and Recreations Committee, awesome to bring those folks back on board as well. They did a great job last year, and their input for the new park going at Clermont Park, we voted on, and I'm very happy about that as well. So appreciate their time and service as well. But yeah, as far as New Year's, gosh, guys, we got a lot of cool projects we are rounding third on. I'm going to head for home, and I'm excited to work with Corey, Mr. Wright, on getting those projects home, and it's great. So it was an honor to be your chairman for 2023, gentlemen. Appreciate you both very much, and I try my best to just get business done, take things very seriously, but at the same time, make things entertaining the best way that I can with my personality, and hopefully things ran smoothly. I know there's probably times where I let you both down, but also times where hopefully I did not. And so appreciate you both very much. It's an honor to be the chairman of the board this year. And no doubt, Mr. Becker, I think you'll do a fine job, sir. So, gentlemen, that is all I got. Mr. Becker.
Yeah, Mr. Dills, first, I just want to thank you for chairing the meetings for 23, and you've never let us down. You always did fabulous, as your predecessor did before you. And you both have kept the bar very high, which makes it challenging for me. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes.
Thank you, sir.
So I just want to say, hope everybody had a great Christmas. Wish everybody a good, happy, and prosperous 2024. I guess some of the thoughts I have on, being chairman going into, for this next year. And first off, we're just taking turns up here, and it's my turn. Being chairman, it doesn't, unlike in Columbus, when I was in the General Assembly, being chairman doesn't give you any extra power, doesn't give you any pay increase, no extra authority. You're just a meeting facilitator. I'm going to try not to let all that power go to my head. But, and something else I'm kind of, I found prone to do, I guess, the couple of times I've stepped in as chairman in the past, is when I was a chairman in Columbus, we have a different set of rules. We don't use Robert's rules. It's a different set of rules. So the chairman really has a lot of powers, like dictatorial power. So like a motion, a second, we never did any of that. So it was like, until I kind of get used to being chairman and Robert's rules, who knows what kind of mistakes I'll be making, but nothing's not fixable anyway. With that, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. Look.
Yeah, thanks. Just follow up on what you referenced with Clermont Park. I mean, every time I go out there, it's just busy with just the activity that's going on, and the dog park getting used, the dog runs, like, that's exciting. Just the other day, it's cold, and there's still people parked there and taking their dogs out. Pickleball courts, they're just about complete. They're doing some final leveling on them, and they look great, and the playground's all in place, just waiting for the pour and play to go in. I mean, it looks really nice, and the biggest thing, too, when we bought the boom mower for the service department, so we don't have to borrow from Anderson Township anymore, they've been able to clean some of the underbrush in Clermont Park, which is getting cleaned up and looking better and better, but it's a safety concern and doesn't invite homeless and drug use basically to occur in the wooded area at Clermont Park. So it's really nice to take care of our assets in the township. So thanks for all the work together as a board and being able to facilitate and do that this year. Likewise with the zoning commission and zoning appeals, I think, I know Mark is working on putting together a time frame that we'll be able to do some, formal or informal interaction with zoning commission, zoning appeals, which I think is wonderful. I think even ahead of that, we should just likely extend an invitation to zoning commission and appeals to maybe join the next meeting or something. Nothing to take a lot of time on the agenda, but I think it'd be nice to say, hey, reappointed you at the reorg meeting, and just wanted to see you, face to face and welcome you, and thanks for your service. So something that's on my mind there as far as that goes. So gentlemen, I think we can let the staff work that out and put that on the agenda, put that on the schedule. Mr. Chairman, you can see if that gets on the agenda as a special time slot or what it may be. We can take some feedback, but Yeah, Chairman, for 2023, Dills, you did wonderful for us. I really appreciated it. You really great, and I think that's the interesting thing that I learned going from a trustee member for 2 or 3 years, 2 years, to chairman. Just the different things that are on your mind when you're in the chairman seat, running, facilitating the meeting, but balancing between the board, the directors, and the public. And it's an interesting task, and it's really a great benefit for you know, now having 1 year's chairman under your belt, same way that I feel. When you're back in a trustee role or vice chairman role or whatever, you've got that same perspective of what the chairman's, you know, trying to do at the meeting or what may be going on. So it's always, I think it's just better for the board members to have that cycle and have that kind of experience. So but you hit a home run, man. You just did phenomenal this year. And, you know, likewise, for anyone to expect too, you can see where your Chairman Joe Dill started out the very first meeting, and how fast you got up to speed as chairman and just digging in on different things and run the meetings very well. I learned things from you, from the way that you ran some of the meetings I really liked. That, you know, I'm sure that when God provides me an opportunity to be chairman again one day, maybe after Mr. Becker, that you know, I'll be able to carry that stuff forward as well too. So it's a great lesson to be learned all the way around. You get to watch, we get to watch, you get to do, we get to do. So it's just a good benefit. So likewise, I'm very excited for you, Mr. Becker, to be in the chairman role this year. And we'll get to see you get running up to speed, I'm sure. You know, like you said, you're going to do wonderful. You're going to knock off the dust of Columbus and settle into the Union Township Robert's Rules of Order. And you know, hey, we're here working with you. We may disagree sometimes. We're never disagreeable, and that's a good thing. That's a good team. And we're able to accomplish a lot. So you got 2 good guys here that'll be right there. And having sat in your seat before as chairman, we know what will be on your mind or what may not be on your mind, because we've sat in that seat too, where you've had said, oh, that's right, good call. And that's why you got a team around you to be able to say, hey, you know, touching base on this and let's not miss this one. So likewise, guys, I just can't say, you know, I'm just blessed. First time ever to be vice chairman, so I'll learn that role, huh? Getting the motions down right for everyone.
It's not real challenging.
No, I know, but hey, still, it's you know, first time as vice chairman, so I'm happy. Thanks for the promotion there. Really appreciate it. But no, just looking forward to 2024. It's going to be a lot of great successes. I'm just excited to get running with it. So that's all the comments that I have for this evening, gentlemen. A little longer there, but just heartfelt to both of you for the work that you've done, the work they're going to continue to do, and just excited. So keep up the great work.
Mr. Campbell?
Done.
Take us home, sir.
Okay, so upcoming events. Township offices are closed in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day on Monday, January the 15th. Township offices are also closed in observance of President's Day on Monday, February the 19th. Christmas tree drop-off program is underway through January 31st, 2024. Drop-off location is behind the police department at 4312 Glenusty-Woodensville Road. And the Board of Trustees' next meeting will be on January the 9th,
I thought that was the 9th. Yeah, there's a typo on this agenda.
2024 at 6 p.m. There's nothing else to come before the board. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the 2024 reorganizational meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, Mr. Logue,
Yes.
Mr. Dills,
Yes.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
We're adjourned at 6:53 p.m.
Gentlemen.
Good.